In kind of a survey, so we just collect the response and then analyze the responses, whereas in case of a questionnaire, it is a list of questions and respondents answer to the questions. In this kind of open-ended questions and written responses, so they will be analyzed further. Survey and questionnaire are both similar, but survey is more a laborious process. Hello everyone, I am Purnima, faculty in the Department of Commerce and Management, Vidyashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. I welcome you all to this session. In this session 6 of Unit 2, let us have a discussion on the differences between surveys and questionnaires. So in general, the main difference between survey and a questionnaire is that questionnaire is a list of questions where the respondents answer, and surveys typically contains a list of questions but involves the collection and analysis of the response. So in here we can see that a survey typically contains a list of questions but involves the collection and analysis of the responses. So in kind of a survey, so we just collect the response and then analyze the responses, whereas in case of a questionnaire, it is a list of questions and respondents answer to the questions. Think of how a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not always a square. So a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square. A survey always has a questionnaire, but a questionnaire is never a survey, only one aspect of a survey. So we should understand that the questionnaires are different and survey is different. Survey is just one aspect as such. Next, a questionnaire is simply a set of questions. These set of questions typically aim to gather information about an individual, group of individual, or a corporation. So, this questionnaire is framed to just gather the information. So, questionnaires' main purpose is to gather information or data from a target audience. So, questionnaires can collect both quantitative and qualitative data depending on the question types. So, questionnaires can be both quantitative and qualitative. So, depending on the question types. So, next we have the types of questionnaires. So, remember questionnaires are the list of questions and they are typically only one portion of a survey. For survey and questionnaires to be fruitful, they need to answer specific questions or a set of questions. So, next one is the quantitative questionnaire. So, quantitative questionnaires usually ask closed-ended questions with yes or no or numbered responses. So, quantitative questions are close-ended questions. Now, what is this close-ended questions? So, the close-ended questions means, for example, quantitative questions would employ the Likert scale. Example, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely you are to recommend company X to a friend or a colleague. So that is, in this way we can see that on a scale of 1 to 10. So if you just see how beautiful the rose is. So if I ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, just tell me how do you describe the beauty of a rose. So you may say 9, some may say 8, some may say 7. So in this way we can just give it a quantitative aspect to the quality of a product. So there are certain qualities which we cannot give in quantified terms. So for those surveys we need this Likert scale. So out of 1 to 10, how do you rate it? Then next one is the qualitative questionnaire. So qualitative questionnaires will often have open-ended questions and written responses. So these qualitative questionnaires, so they are open-ended questions and written responses. So what are open-ended questions? So open-ended questions may be they are relating to what is the brand of clothes you wear. Suppose if the question is framed like this, which brand of clothes do you wear? So it is open-ended question. The respondent is free to answer whatever he needs. So such kind of questions are open-ended questions. So this kind of information needs to be analyzed further to correctly interpret the data. The analyzing process is what turns a questionnaire into a survey. So in this kind of open-ended questions and written responses, so they will be analyzed further. Most of the respondents are just picking for a certain brand, then we have to analyze further why the brand which is manufactured by our company is not used. Why do people don't like our brand? So it leads lot of analysis. That is what differentiates a questionnaire from a survey. Then next type of questionnaire is the demographic questionnaires. So they are normally consist of closed-ended questions only. So they are employed to gather demographic information such as age, sex, religion and ethnicity. So in this demographic questions, you will be asking the age of the person from whom you are interviewing, then what is the gender, whether it's a male or a female, then religion. So what type of a religion he belongs to and what country he belongs to. So all these are closed-ended questions. So you will not have, at least you will have these years on which the date of birth will be, and also the various castes and religions will already be there, and he will have to just click on one of these to just select the answer. So businesses can use inclusive demographic surveys and questionnaires to gauge their own employees and teams before committing to diversity and inclusivity initiatives. So before usually the business houses, they resort to demographic surveys and questionnaires to analyze their own employees. So how many employees belong to a particular religion, and how many male and female workers do we have, and how many people belonging to which age group are there. So all this will help the company to analyze what is the kind of employee base they have. Then demographic and questionnaires and surveys can also be used as a way to better define their target audience. So it will be helpful for them to define their target audience. Then the next one is the psychographic questionnaires. So psychographic questionnaires gather soft or subjective data about a people's values, personality and attitudes. So it collects the people's values. So what kind of a value people have, then what is their personality, what is their attitude. So they are important for marketers and businesses because they help create a customer profile by digging deeper into the sectors of the target audience. So when we know what is their attribute, what is the attitude, what is their personality and what is the value they most, so all this will help in having a better insight into our customer base. So asking closed-ended questions like how many hours a day do you spend on your mobile device, or open-ended questions like how do you feel about your internet provider sharing your personal data, assist the companies to understand how the customers think and operate. So we should know how to frame the questions and just ask the answers from the people. Then the next one is the scaled questionnaires. So in the scaled questionnaire, offer close-ended questions that have a predefined list of options relating to a respondent's feelings towards a topic. So in the scaled questionnaires, we have this list of options relating to the respondent's feeling. So I agree, I disagree, I strongly agree, I strongly disagree, none of this. So there will be various options below given along with the questionnaire, and the respondent has to tick on any one of the options. So it is one of the most common question types for a quantitative research, since respondents can answer quickly and it gives straightforward data to analyze. So this kind of a scaled questionnaire is easy to analyze because we can just count how many numbers of agreed are there, how many are disagreed, how many strongly agree, how many strongly disagree. So the NPS, CS and CS80 usually all contain scaled questionnaires to help quantify the data. So on a scale of 0, that is disappointed, to 7, very satisfied, how satisfied were you with the product demo? Suppose you ask a customer about the product demo. From 0 to 7, how do you rate the product demo? So 0 means dissatisfied, 7 means very satisfied. So, if the customer gives a 7, then it means that he is very satisfied with the product demo. But then if he says 0, that means that the customer is not satisfied with the product demo. Then next we have the pictorial questionnaire. So, they substitute the text for images and are often used for branding or advertising purposes. So, pictorial questionnaires are used for branding or advertising purposes. So, a company that is rebranding itself might survey an audience asking which logo they like most and why. Pictorial questions can also give respondents a nice break from reading text to longer surveys. So, this pictorial questionnaires, so they will be liked by people because they will be saved from reading text and longer surveys. Next, we have the survey. Survey is a broader and more detailed in scope than a questionnaire. They contain a set of questions but also involve the quantitative process of gathering, measuring and analyzing the collected responses. So, survey and questionnaire are both similar, but survey is more a laborious process. So, companies should use surveys to discover more information about a certain group of people. A business should survey its clients at specific touch points so that companies can better understand and address any recurring issues or pain points. So, at every stage of the survey, if the industries can have a survey of the customers, then it will be beneficial for the company. Then, surveys also give businesses insight into customer satisfaction, which helps them to define the customer journey map. More on this topic later. So, there are several different surveys that businesses can use to gain insight into customer feedback, loyalty and trust. So, we discuss a few most important survey types that businesses should employ. So, there are several different surveys that the business can use. So, we'll just discuss some important surveys here. So, in this, the first one is the NPS survey. So, what is this NPS survey? So, the Net Promoter Score. These surveys measure the likelihood of a client advocating on behalf of a company. So, this Net Promoter Score is a kind of a survey where the client will advocate on behalf of the company. So, he will just be a brand, he will be just be a best ambassador for promoting the company. According to Frederick Richheld, original article on NPS, there is a direct correlation between the likelihood of customers promoting a business and their overall loyalty to the company and the brand. So, if the customer, a satisfied customer is a very good brand ambassador for the company. So, he will be more loyal to the company if he is satisfied with the product which is given by the company. Then, there are two types of NPS service. That is, one is the transactional NPS and the relational NPS. So, in the transactional NPS, they supply granular feedback and are sent directly after customer interacts with the business. So, NPS surveys, they supply granular feedback and are sent directly after customer interacts with the business, whereas in relational NPS surveys, they give a broad overview of the customer loyalty and should be sent on specific schedule either annually, biannually or quarterly. So, this transaction NPS, it will be sent immediately after the transaction is done with the customer, whereas in a relational NPS, so it is a periodical survey. It may be sent annually, biannually or quarterly depending on the type of service they provide. So, generally NPS surveys ask one question on a scale of 10. How likely are you to recommend a company name to a friend or a colleague? So, this kind of NPS survey, so it will be done to just ask how popular the company is. For more qualitative data, companies should add an open-ended question in addition. what was the top influencer for giving that rating. So, if they are very particular about what the person thinks about the company, they can add one more question. So, who was influencing them to give such an answer? So, with this, we come to the end of this session. Hope you have all followed it. Thank you.